Hey guys, Mark from Park Flores RC. Today we're taking a quick look at the Tekno ET410.2. This is a 1/10 scale Truggy. It comes in kit form. It's made by a company called Tekno. It is one of the highest performing remote control cars that I've ever driven, which means it's the most capable around a dirt track. It'll take sharp corners very, very well because it has a short wheelbase. It'll fly through the jumps because the body is contained and it goes right down to the chassis, so there's no lift. A rear wing that has a lot of downforce to the rear end. And you have a very lightweight design here. It weighs about 4.2 pounds without the battery. A typical Truggy in 10 scale would probably be around 5.5 pounds. So this is a 25% weight advantage over something that's heavier. When you have a lighter car, it does everything better. The suspension works better, it jumps better. It's much easier to drive and control. And this thing is a really head and shoulders above anything in its class. If you want to compare it to something ready to run category like a Rustler 4x4, obviously it's going to be a lot lighter, it's going to be a lot more nimble, it's going to be more precise, it's going to do everything better than a Rustler can, but the disadvantage is you have to build it. So this is a car that I put together for a very good customer of ours. He knows that we make builds for people around the world and around the country. So he called me up and said, I want something super special. Now I have my own ET410.2 in my own configuration. And over the years, when I build them for customers, every time I build one, you make a change here and there. I always want to make the car drive a little bit better, more desirable. This time to pair it with a 3800 kV motor. Now in my car, I had a 4600 kV. What I learned from driving my car was that just because it has higher RPM and you might have a higher top end speed, it's not always the best choice for four-wheel drive, because in four-wheel drive you want torque. So the lower the kV, the less RPM, but you get more torque. And you could always compensate with the pinion, which we did here. So we have a 3800 kV motor. It's their 1410 by Castle. We have the Copperhead ESC in the car on a 2-cell LiHV pack. 2-cell LiHV is a higher voltage than a standard LiPo. It is a higher quality battery technology, and you definitely notice the power. We chose a reedy design. This is a Zapper 4800 milliamp with an IC5 connector. We chose the IC5 even though it's a little bigger and heavier than the smaller connectors, but it has less resistance and it will never overheat and never melt. It's just really good. Easy to solder, easy to put on the battery, and we just like it. The battery happens to be at 90C, so it is very high quality. The output on this car is outstanding. Is much lower in milliamp than my original car, which was 6100. We wanted something lighter. Runtime is good anyway. You don't really need a 6100. It's a little bit overkill and it's overweight. The 4800, just to be more clear, is a much better choice for the car because it makes the car lighter and you're still getting over 30 minutes of runtime depending on your throttle, and we find it to be the best balance. So for pinion count, we went with a 22 32 pitch Traxxas pinion. It works very well in this car and it's very smooth. It actually goes very well with the Tekno spur gear, and it works well. For the body, we did a fade in, fade out on front and rear to black. We have the center in red. This was all done by airbrush in-house. And we also did a window tint, so it kind of looks really, really nice. It's much better outside. You can't really tell here, but the tint really looks good outside. And overall, the car, we think, is stunning and it looks great. We think the customer is going to love it. And I can't wait for him to get it because he really did spend a lot of money on this, and he deserves to get what I consider one of the best driving dirt cars out there. Now, if you have the ability to get one of these cars and you're very into RC, I recommend building one of these or having us build it for you, because the experience of driving something like this is completely unique. The difference in its drivability is night and day over something that's like ready to run or something that is even almost ready to run. This car is going to handle so much better. The quality of the components, the choice of materials that Tekno uses is really second to none. And what makes the car really special is if you build it with their manual, like it says to, with all their settings, everything is completely neutral. You don't need to really adjust it. It's not going to drive awkward in any situation. You build it and it drives good wherever you take it. That's one of the benefits of building a Tekno. This car is built for the average consumer to just set up and for it to work. And this is one of those cars that just really, it doesn't take a lot of knowledge in racing to configure it the right way. Just follow the manual, like they say. It has some recommendations in the back for your radio settings. You just do that and the car is going to drive amazing. It's going to be so much different than anything you're used to. It's much easier to drive. It does everything better. So as you're running around the track, you're kind of pushing it harder every time you go around. And it's a car that could be driven at like 9/10. For the radio on this car, he wanted something that would not break the bank, but is not going to be entry level. And you can have all the settings plus 10 model memory. And that's if you top a 3PV radio. The 3PV radio for $150 is my #1 choice for this car, or any car that you're going to be get into. If you want to get into it and you don't want to spend all your money, you know, you're not going to spend $300-400. This is the radio to get. It does everything that the big boys can do. It has ABS braking, dual rates. It has all kinds of adjustments for your throttle rates and your steering rates. Just works well. The receivers are fairly cheap. They're about $45-50. Nothing crazy, and it works every time. Very easy to bind the receiver, and it works very well. For the motor fan, we went with a McLaren 30mm. It's better than the fan that I used in my car, which was a ProTech 30mm. Has better shielding around the magnet for the fan, so it doesn't lose RPM. Even when it gets close to the motor, it doesn't overheat. And actually the performance is really good. It's about 28,000 RPM, and it really does cool the motor. Cooled motors usually last a lot longer than uncooled motors, so for about $20, I suggest if you're gonna build this car, you get that, you get the fan. Copperhead speed control is going to be a step above their Sidewinder line, the Sidewinder 4 particularly, and it has much better capability as far as cooling, and it has higher capacity, and it definitely puts out slightly more power. It has better capacitors in the speed control, and we recommend going with a minimum of a Copperhead speed control on a car like this. For the tires, we went with Proline Prisms. Now these are a beautiful tire. The unique thing about them is that they have a little bit harder compound than usual. It's a clay compound, and the reason why we like that for this car is there's two ways to get grip from a tire. One is through the compound of the tire, like a soft compound would give you grip. The other way is through the pins or the tread on the tire. So for this tire, because it's a hard compound, a little bit harder than normal, so we went with the tread here, which is for clay. And the benefit of having this hard compound is that the pins on them do not wear out easily. They actually have a very nice lifespan because they're hard rubber, and then you end up getting more dig in the dirt. We found this the best tire for running it around the track. We used J-Concepts rims for this, and the whole thing is just beautifully set up. If you look at the dimensions of the car, they're absolutely perfect for driving and driving fast. Look at that, just look at the dimensions, look at the layout. The body is just beautiful. The way everything is set up, it's just a joy to drive. If you run this against their Tekno, either their short course, they have an SL and a regular short course truck. This will be faster around the track because it has a tighter turning radius and the car itself is lighter. It just finds itself going much faster around the track. You're able to travel at much higher speeds than any other car that we've ever driven, and that makes the car special and unique. So one of the nice features of the car are the shocks. They are very, very consistent and they perform very well. I would say that they are on a higher level than Team Associated shocks because these shocks never leak. Where Team Associated, once in a while, we find that they leak and they give some seal problems. These are built so well that we never find leaks in them. One of the other things that people don't realize is the Tekno cars are durable. Even though they're boutique cars, they're high-end cars, they are built to last, and it is definitely a step above anything ready to run. All in is going to be, with the battery, is going to be just about over 5 pounds. So as this car is set up, like I told you before, this is going to outrun anything that we've ever put on the track, and it is something really special. If you want to order one, please call 1-800-470-8932, ask for Mark. I will help you set up a car to your liking. We could also do a custom airbrush body for you, and we can set it up, you know, how you like it. We can go all the way or we can go cheap. So whatever you want to do, we could help you. All right, this is Mark from parkflyers.com signing off. Please leave comments below, call us if you want one, share the video with friends, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We will see you on the next review, and have a great day.